What's your favorite idea?
Mine is being creative. Alright, what's going on, everybody? My name is Brandon. I am an artist and a fashion designer, I guess you could say. And I'm sure you could tell by the horrible intro that I put together that I spent way too much time on, that this is going to be a Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared related project. I have this too big for me vintage Carhartt jacket that I'm wearing that I'm going to be working on. I have this kind of fuzzy, vague idea of what I want this project to turn out like in my head, but I don't really have much of a plan, so I'm going to just kind of go for it. And I figured I would document my journey and see if I could look back on it in a few years and think maybe I would have done this better or I would have changed something about it. I don't know, I just think it would be interesting. So if that's something that interests you, stick around and let me know, and I'll continue doing this with my other projects. I've been working on clothing for a couple of years now, and it's been my full-time job selling on Depop and stuff. I'll tag all of that in the end if that's something that interests you as well. And other than that, I think I'm just gonna kind of do it, just see what happens. And I did just kind of do it and saw what happened. I'm pretty okay with the outcome. I think it came out exactly how I vaguely envisioned it. I knew before I started this project that I wanted to cut out the three characters, the main characters, and sew them onto the back. But other than that, I didn't really know where I was going. So I kind of find this path along the way and decide as I go, which is really what I do with a lot of my pieces, and it usually works out for me. So this project, like I said, is based off of the video series Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, which if you aren't familiar, you should. I do highly recommend checking it out. It's one of my favorite pieces of art that I've seen recently, at least. I think it's 10 years old now. It just hit its birthday like a few days ago. But it's made by these two people, Joe and Becky. They're like the two main creators, other than the whole team and production set and all that fun stuff that they had going on. But they're really talented artists. They do a lot of things I'm interested in. They've done commercials, some TV work, some music videos that are all really cool. Big fans of them. If you're watching, either of you, what up? But other than that, my ideas kind of just flowed. I didn't really know where I was going until I was already there. I did have a few ideas before I started this, but luckily I didn't just find this one jacket. I also found two other jackets that I'm going to be customizing soon. So if you are interested in that and want to stick around, you can always subscribe, and I will be making 2 videos soon. I guess I'll go ahead and spoil it, but one of them is going to be based on Salad Fingers, and then the other one is going to be based on Slender Man. So if you're into either of those, cool. If not, word, see you later. So anyways, making this jacket. The hard part, other than actually working on it, was finding the materials. So I don't go to Joann's or Michael's or like a hobby store like that to buy the materials that I work with, unless it is like paint or something like that. But all like the red material, the yellow material, the green, the blue, I used things I found in Goodwill. So that took me a long time to find something that was either exactly or close enough to what I wanted to use. The hardest part was Yellow Guy's hair. I could not find a furry blue material for so long, but I finally found it. That was the last piece of the puzzle, and once I found that, it was go time. So when I was making this, I was trying to keep the creator's mind in my mind, kind of thinking like, what would they do if they made a jacket like this? So I wanted it to be bright, colorful, poppy, and obviously based on references to the show and based on that kind of aesthetic. And usually when I work on clothing, I try to keep an aesthetic in mind. It helps guide me through the process and kind of keeps my mind's eye in perspective and keeps me on track, basically. So the big characters on the back are definitely the focus point, the big, like, I guess you could call it like the grand finale of the piece that I'm working on, which honestly was a bit of a pain. Hand sewing is not something that I love to death. It's something I could, I'm okay with, but man, maybe I just need a thimble or something. But what made it hard about this jacket was the lining on the inside. So it has the lining and then the outer like canvas texture. So I had to pull apart those two materials so I didn't sew into the lining and make it look all weird on the inside, and kind of get on the in between both of them, which was a challenge here and there. But thankfully, that was really the only challenge I faced during this. The whole process went smoothly. Anyway, the whole process went pretty smooth after I decided on what I was even trying to do. I did have some issues with the yellow guy's hair. I think I did show in there. I tried to just freehand it and make it look kind of close to what I was going for, but really that just didn't work, and I ended up having to hand draw it onto a white fabric and then trace around it onto the blue fabric, and it came out nice. It came out, I guess, almost as close as I could get it to work, and I'm proud of it. I think it looks fine. So after I sewed them on, I thought maybe I would try to do some other sewing parts on it, but in the end I did just decide to paint everything, which I didn't want to do. I think I'm an okay painter, but it takes a long time, and I take delicate time and steps with my paintings to get them as close to my vision as I possibly can. And I knew that this was going to be a big project, so I didn't want to skip any steps, and I did it. I painted everything on here. I did a white, almost like a white underlying layer first, just to kind of make the colors pop a little bit more, which I'm glad I did. There's one part on here, the very, very last thing I did, that I didn't do a white underlayer for, just to kind of have some pull and push, so that the things I did the white under would pop a little bit more. Than it's really just like a little background kind of that I didn't do the white for. So I think it looks fine. I'm happy with the decisions I made. Like I said, there's a few things I would do kind of differently, like the duck's mouth. Whenever I sewed that on, I kind of realized that there was a couple things that I probably should have cut out differently, like the red behind his mouth. I made that an awkward shape, and it worked out fine, but it could have been easier is all. It's probably one of my favorite parts, the death, which is, how I smeared it on the H like it is when they drag their hand down. I showed that to my grandmother when I was making it, and she very scaredly said, "Did you know that it's smeared right here?" As if like I didn't mean to do it. I thought that was funny. So once I decided what area I wanted to work on, kind of like focusing on the composition, then I needed to figure out what size and what character or what reference to the show I wanted to put in this spot. So I wanted to have everything kind of dispersed throughout the jacket evenly and have a nice flow of everything, and make sure whatever I was working on I could paint and have it be readable from kind of far away, which I think I succeeded on. So I went through and picked out some of my favorite characters from the show that I either think are funny or, stuck with me in some way. So I did the clock from the Time episode, and then I I think I'm starting on the little butterfly from the religion, marriage, cult type. Is it episode 3? I don't know. Please don't hurt me in the comments if that's wrong. And I know all the characters have names. I know, I guess, a majority of them, but I'm not gonna nerd out like that. I know there are plenty of people who know this by heart and are probably way bigger fans than I am, but I have a deep admiration for the show and have seen it many times. I know a lot about it, but I don't know everything, I guess is what I'm saying. So I know the little butterfly guy has a name. I can't even think of it right now. I could probably look it up, actually. I'm probably going to do that. His name is Shrignold. Who would have thought, huh? I did know that. I think I just found that out recently, actually. I didn't even know he had a name. It's kind of weird. I don't know how people find out they have names. I don't remember him being called Shrignold in the show, but I don't know. The fandom behind this series is just, it's mind-blowing. People really go into it. He's probably my favorite character. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I like the way he came out a lot. I think up close he looks really pretty, and then the colors from far away look really nice under the word death. So, thinking about it, I'm sure people probably see this jacket and don't have any idea what it's from, and I could only imagine what goes through their head when they see like a little butterfly next to the word death. It's probably, I don't know, probably odd. I did already post the finished product of this jacket on my Instagram, which I'll tag at the end or leave in the description or something. But once I posted the picture, Joe and Becky, both the creators of the show, liked it, and that was a good moment for me. I wanted them to see it at least, and just to know that they both saw it is pretty cool. So happy about that. So after I finished Shrignold, I moved on to the iconic notepad with June 19th, of course, the date, which there's a whole lot of speculation with what that means. I think I heard something about it being Father's Day or from some year, and I don't know. It's I still don't totally understand that. If you know, please leave a comment with either what you know or what you assume, or there's just so many theories based around this show and possibilities, and the lure behind it is part of why I like it so much. There's not just one meaning that's you're slapped in the face with. You have to really think about it and rewatch it and see things that you missed before and look at the background, and it's cool. They did a really nice job on it. So after I finished, I love the dad. He's so weird. He's probably, I don't know. I have so many favorite characters from this series, but after I finished the front of it, I moved on to the sleeves, and I think the sleeves are my favorite part. The dad he's so cool. Really brilliant character design with him. At one point, before I started painting everything, I kind of wanted to have all of the characters be like maybe 2 or 3 times larger than what they actually are, but I was worried that I wouldn't be as readable if I did it that way, so I decided eventually to just keep them kind of small and have it something that, if you look at it far away, it's still colorful and everything pops on it, and it doesn't just kind of get mushed together and things are kind of weird to look at. So that's why everything's kind of spread apart more and a little smaller, and I think by doing this I was able to put in a little bit more detail, and I think it was the right choice. I also tried to keep in mind how things would look when being worn on a body. So, it's flat now when it's on the ground, but once you put a sleeve on, it's going to be a rounded object. So I wanted things to be able to be seen and understood without having to look around something. And I think it just makes more sense to have things a little bit smaller. But I don't know if you disagree, or have any suggestions in general, or think you would have liked to have seen something. I'm very open to hearing what you think about it. I'd like to know your opinions. Everything is an artistic decision, and everyone really has their own kind of views on things. Even if we're looking at the same thing, if we were to both draw it, we would both draw it differently. So once I finished the yellow guy's dad, I moved on to the most lesser known character from this show. This is the globe from, I think it's episode 4, maybe 5. The one with the computer in it. The globe turns around and acts like he's going to sing, but he's very abruptly interrupted by the computer, who starts singing his song. And I don't know, I just wanted to add him. He doesn't really get enough credit, so he is a small feature in this jacket as well. And I think he deserves it, little shout out to the Globe Boy. Real quick, I just want to talk about that intro that I made, where it might have been a mistake, okay? That's all I'm saying. It was weird. And you know what? Sometimes we do things that are just maybe should have just stayed in my head, and I don't know. I did it, all right? Don't come at me. I know it was stupid. So anyway, after I finished the globe, I moved on to the most iconic character, the notepad from the first episode. Obviously, if you know anything about Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, you know about the notepad. Everyone knows, green is not a creative color. In this, I reference the I use my hair to express myself part, and this one was a little bit not so much time consuming. I guess tedious would be the word. After I finished painting the notepad and I moved on to the hair, I tried to make it as close to the actual notepad as I could. I took a couple easier routes, but in regards to the color and the shape and form of its hair, I did try to stick to its legitimacy and follow how the string actually blended from color to color, and which color it blended into, and how it was. And so that's what I start here. It's like I said, it was a process. And once I got down to it was just going to be a big clump of color, I kind of just stopped there and didn't want it to just be a clump of color. So that's where I really took my decision making in that point. There's a couple areas, it doesn't really matter. No one's ever gonna know, but I know I took my time on it and did what I wanted to do. But that was the last character I worked on, and other than that, I just did these little things that are in, I think it's the first episode's title screen that just says "Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared." It has little colorful shapes, and I used one of them to cover up a little stain that was on it, and that was it. That was the last thing I did. So this is just a couple little shots of me wearing the jacket. I think it looks great on body. Everything's readable from further away, and then when you get up close, you can really see the detail, and I guess it's easier to appreciate up close once you can see the work that I put a lot of work into it. So if you're interested in this and want to check it out, I'll put my Depop on screen, my Instagram. If you want to leave me a comment, tell me what you think about it. I'd I'd love for you to subscribe. If you don't want to, totally cool. But like I said, I will be uploading a Salad Fingers jacket, a Slenderman jacket, and if these do well, if it's something you guys want to see, I work on clothing all the time, and I would love to record my process and share it with you guys. So, send some love, send some hate. I'd love to know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys later.
Now let's all agree to never be creative again.